Hi, this is Renee with Fraley Farm Mini Homestead. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about buying your garden plants, okay? Now, I know we're at a big box store and I'm trying to film this incognito so they don't get me for out here videotaping at their store, but I want to show you guys a few things. Basically, when you're buying your plants, if you choose to buy, rather, if you buy at the beginning of the season, a lot of times you're going to find that these seed companies will only sow one plant per container, okay? So this is an example of that. Of course, if you come over here and look at this sugar baby watermelon, you can see there's only one. That's all you get, okay? But when you start getting into the season, like you in the heart of the growing season and all that good stuff, and it's still within plenty of time for you to be able to plant these fruits or vegetables that you plan to do, but you'll notice a lot of these will be over sown. So you'll see some of these that's going to have a multitude of plants inside it. So you look at this particular sugar baby watermelon and you're going to see this joker is loaded with plants. Look at this. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plants in there. That is a multitude, y'all. So if you're smart like me, you'll probably take this bad boy and separate them and go ahead and maybe sell a few of them, or better yet, give a few to your neighbors or your friends. You can share, all right? Or you can have multiple plants for yourself and only buy it one time. So basically, for this situation, for $5 you get one plant, or $5 you get 9 plants. Now listen, which one do you think is smarter? All right, so you got to do what you got to do. Or if you're even smarter than that, go buy you a pack of seeds, because you know what? Those seeds are going to cost a whole lot cheaper than $5, and you're going to have way more plants than even 9. You can save your seeds for years to come if you put them away properly. How hard is it to sow your seeds? Take your seed, push it down in the soil twice the depth of the size of your seed. So if you just got a dot for a seed, you probably could just leave it on top of the soil. But if you got a watermelon seed, you're going to bury it twice as deep as the size of the seed. So it's not even going to go maybe what, half an inch? And then next thing you know, in a few days, you're going to get germination. And you're going to get the same thing that they do right here. All right, let's move on, look at some more. So again, on these strawberries, first of all, look at the price of them. They're ridiculous. But you can see they are covered with flowers. And even some of these have strawberries already on them. But listen, when you buy these plants are already mature. So if you plan on keeping these plants year after year after year, first of all, it's not always the best on your first year of strawberries to go ahead and allow them to make the strawberries. Usually you are recommended to pull the flowers off. I'm sorry, there's a cart behind me. Most of the time you're recommended to pull the flowers off, but if not, they're already mature, and you can see that these strawberries are already forming on this plant. And again, when you go to keep this year after year after year, it's already old, y'all. All right, let's look at a few more. So again, here's another plant. You got 2 plants in one pot. Hey, that's a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. One thing I want to show you about tomato plants. All right, now if you want to buy multiple or have multiple plants of the same tomato, one thing that you can do is when you look at your plant, you can remove the suckers off of your tomato plant. Now, when you look at this particular plant, it forms an L. Okay, that's an L. In the center of the L is this little micro plant that is starting to grow here. That's your sucker. Those suckers are going to pull nutrients out of your plant. They're not very productive, and it just draws the life out of the plant. But you can leave them on there. It's not a big deal. But if you want to remove them, go ahead. Your plant will thrive and it will grow more. But let me show you something that's even better. If you leave these suckers on, here's another sucker there. There's one here. You leave those suckers on, let them grow a couple of inches, and guess what? Pull it off the plant, and then guess what? Make a hole in the soil and pop it in the soil. that sucker will root and it will become a primary plant. Pretty soon, that sucker will grow and you will have a free tomato plant. Okay? So again, you got to be smart. And these tomatoes, they grow so fast. So even if you do decide to keep your suckers and let them become plants, in no time, they will become a strong, healthy plant just like the rest. Okay? So that is how you propagate tomato plants. And again, look at the price of these bad boys. Ooh-wee. That's an expensive tomato, y'all. So like I say, just let your suckers grow and propagate them yourself and have a free plant. All right. When you first have these little young plants, these are just little babies, y'all. And you can see they've probably been in the greenhouse or somewhere like that. This bad boy has a flower on it already. Go ahead and pull that flower off. You do not want that flower to go ahead and become a tomato because these are just babies. These little baby plants, just like, for example, you got young kids, young babies. You don't want them having future children when they're young. So same thing here. You don't want your tomato plants having babies when they're young. You want to go ahead and pull those flowers off. Let that plant mature and get large and big and strong. Let the root system grow. Then you allow those flowers to go ahead and develop into your fruit. Most of these tomato plants are too small for them to have fruit already, especially the type of plants that these are. These plants are going to be large, but because they've probably been in a greenhouse, they're probably mature, they're root bound, they're going to go ahead and start sending off flowers to go ahead and produce your fruit. You don't want that just yet, y'all. Give it some time. Be patient, pull your flowers off until they get large enough to do so, and then hey, let them go at it. Let me show you another one. Alright, when you buy some of these plants, like I say, they've probably been in the greenhouse for a while and they've been growing. So look, this rosemary is already starting to shoot off some flowers and gonna make seed. And you look over here and you got this Thai basil, which is doing the same thing. Okay, you can see that it's got plants, or excuse me, this plant's got flowers at the top. It's gonna make seed. Guess what? When that flower starts to mature, it turns off the plant because the plant thinks it is done and done for the season, and it will turn itself off, y'all. So pull that off and keep it going. All right, let me show you a little bit about basil. All right, I'm gonna show you a little bit. First of all, this is pretty good, y'all. Pay attention to your price tags. All right, you look at this one, it's $11.98. Guess what? Right next door, same plant, $15.98. I don't know what the difference is, but obviously somebody made a boo-boo when they put the price of these. Okay, so always keep an eye on your prices. Nowadays, when they ring up your stuff at the store, you don't even see the price. You just get the total at the end. And you better pay attention to your receipt because half the time the prices are wrong. Sale prices are not shown. And just like in this situation, you got the same plant right next door, two different prices. Okay, now one thing is, remember these plants are about $5 each. So this particular planter has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 5 or 6 plants in this particular flower pot. Times that by $5. Now you tell me which one is cheaper. Now when it comes to basil, you see these basil, they look like just a stalk. Okay, they're not really branching out, they're just straight up, and you got your plant. If you want this basil to branch out and start forming stems and stalks off the sides, what you do, when you get to the area where you've got at least 2 stems here, cut it right above. And when you do that, it's going to force this plant to start to make stems, and it's going to branch out different sides. All right, so again, I would plant these separate. I would not plant this together because otherwise this is all you're going to get. It's going to get root bound from all of these plants in one pot. But if you separate them, cut this right above the node where you have 2 stalks coming off of it. You got 2 sides there, okay? And that way this will branch out and become a much bigger plant. When you buy plants, make sure you don't bring home a problem child. You can see that this grape already has signs of a fungus on it. So guess what? When you plant this bad boy, it's not been treated. And so when you plant it, you just brought home a problem. You got fungus already in the plant. We don't know how well this plant was taken care of before it got here, so definitely you don't want to bring home a problem plant like this. Grapes are going to last for years and years and years and years, so you want to make sure that whatever you buy, especially if it's a perennial plant that's going to be around for a very, very, very long time, make sure you bring home a plant that's healthy. I want to show you this too. You see how easy they propagated these bad boys? They took one stalk and stuck it in the soil, probably in the fall, let it grow, and guess what? This is what you get. How much is this plant, y'all? I'm gonna say probably too much. $23. Goodness gracious. Wow. All they did was took a stick. You could find a friend that's probably got some of these vines and things, and just get a piece, propagate it, especially in the fall, and you'll have all this yourself, y'all. They are making a killing off of all of us, and it is ridiculous the prices that these plants are this year. This is ridiculous. I'm going to show y'all the individual basil plants. So before we had multiple plants for 11 something. Guess what? One plant, almost $6. That's crazy. That's nuts. But like I say, they're making a whole bunch of money off of us, but we got to be smart. We got to shop smart, grow smart, be smart, so that way we can feed our family. All right, y'all. Listen, hit that like button. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. Hope you learned something today, and I'll catch y'all later. Bye.